Coming to you live from inside your favorite book, The Greg Simoneau Show. And here's Greg Simoneau.
That man never been ready for the chaos. I stay ready, never take day off. Train for the action, it's payoff. Deliver that straight, no mailbox. First class talk out, top tier walk out. Back in my chat.
Awesome. All right. The Greg Simoneau Show, episode 58. 5 plus 8 is 13. That's for Dan. And also, people who watch the show are cute. I like to thank Dan in the booth. And I'd like to thank the local scene for having me. Enjoy the show. Yes, the local scene. So, it's fall. Fall is coming up. Time to get the glass pumpkins out. I don't know if you've been to Home Goods lately, but they have miniature glass pumpkins too this year. And if you've ever seen anyone blow a glass pumpkin, it's something to look at. Look up that video. Yeah, they twirl it, they swirl it. They make a pumpkin out of glass. That's crazy. You know the pumpkins on your farm? They aren't made of glass. They're made out of, pumpkin. I don't know. And those take a long time to make. A glass pumpkin takes like an hour or like 2 hours. I don't know. Check out the video. And if you've experienced, if you're an experienced glass person, it could go faster. Otherwise, your pumpkins, throw a few seeds in your yard, water them, and hope for the best, I don't know. 3 months you looking at? What you looking at? The whole summer? I was over your house, and you had a regular pumpkin, okay? I have a glass pumpkin. That's something you and your friends can't make. That means it's expensive. And another thing, it won't rot like yours, Glass doesn't rot. Glass ages. I talked to some old glass the other day. It was all like, I remember Princess Diana. She winked at me once. I remember Kurt Cobain. I remember the 1960s. Yeah, another thing old glass don't do? Old glass don't shut up. Old glass never shuts its old ass up. Yeah. I like how they get some pumpkins, I'm going to say like state fair size. They're huge. They don't look like a pumpkin anymore. They look like someone who was trapped in their house, like my 800-pound life, That's what they look like. They look like a pumpkin version of Jabba the Hutt, Yeah. I want to say to them, Bo Sugar, I saw one giant pumpkin pick up a frog and eat it. That can't be good. You're making a big mistake, Pumpka. You're looking at a crane and a trailer to bring them to the state fair, First place. Great pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Nice. But it's time to get the glass ones out, You see, for me and my wife, we keep them in storage and then break them out every year. Hopefully they're not broken, because that's the thing. You want to store those safely because they're not too cheap. They're a little pricey, especially at the Yankee Candle Village. Why are they so expensive? Who's blowing these pumpkins? Yeah. Your best bet is to go to Home Goods. Don't worry about my sponsors. And Home Goods has small ones this year. So tempting, so cute. And you're going to want those glass pumpkins out. Just the aura. Just like, look at me, I'm rich. Oh, you have a real pumpkin? Yeah. Well, I have a glass one. Somebody made this. I can't make it. I wouldn't want to make it, Seems like if you touch it, it would be real hot and burn yourself. So my main reason for not making my own glass pumpkin is the fear of burning my flesh. What if you burned pumpkin? Pumpkin flesh? New idea for a candle? I don't know, burnt pumpkin? And what about Burt Pumpkin? You know, it's just a pumpkin with a mustache. And what if you burnt Charlie Brown, you know? Yeah. New Halloween ornament, maybe? I don't know. It's also time to get a bat tea light holder, you know? That's nice. That says fall and Halloween. It says more than Halloween. It says I'm a witch, you know? I'm a witch and a bad bitch. But it's still time to break those out. I lit mine the other day and Batman showed up. Yeah. He was all like, "You called?" And I was like, "Oh, hi, Batman. Thought only the commissioner had the power to call you." "The commissioner's dead. Didn't you read the Commissioner Gordon miniseries or see the second and third movies?" "Oh, no. Sorry, Batman. Well, nothing's going on here. Slow night for you?" "Not really. Two-Face defecated in public." Oh, it must have been his bad side, you know? "He flipped a coin. Heads, he uses a public restroom. Tails, he shits on the ground." Oh, sorry to hear that. Did the poop come out one side good, one side bad? "It came out like a vanilla and chocolate soft serve swirl. It's already been sent down to the lab." Oh, okay. I thought it might come out like one side smooth and the other side like a Reese's Nutrageous. "That's exactly what it looked like." Oh, okay. Okay. I think my neighbor just put a bat light on in his house. It's probably just a decoration. Batman? End scene. Yeah, but I mean, if you have a bat tea light holder, you're going to want to keep that thing out, you know? You're going to want to put that out now, early fall. You want to get some use out of it. It doesn't scream Halloween, but it's something. And it's something you'll want to put out. You want to get the most out of it. Your bat tea light holder. So it holds a tea light, you know? You can use a battery one. You know, I'm not judging here. Or you can use a real tea light. You could be a man. You can man up. Put a real tea light in there. And it shines. It casts the vision of a bat. It's a bat tea light holder. The bat tea light holder comes from lore. You know, bats used to carry candles for people, I believe. In olden days, there was no electricity, and people needed to move from place to place. They could train bats to carry candles. And I think that's the historic value you're trying to get there. That's what they would do, historically. Now, don't quote me on it, but I believe that is historically accurate. And if you break up the word history, you get high in story. Makes you think about it. The bat tea light, you know. Black is preferred, you know, I think. You want to get a black cast iron one, you know. Be careful not to burn yourself. That's my main reason for not having one. The part where I, you know, might burn my flash, you know. That's the main reason I don't have a bat tea lights going around. It's a nice motif, though. It's a nice votive. It's a votive motif. You can pick one up for reasonable money, you know. It's not going to say, I'm not going to say that they're cheap. Reasonable money, you know. What do you expect to pay for a bat tea light holder, you know? $15 for the pair, you know. You'll be surprised, yeah. But it's time to get that out. And you want to cast those shadows of bats in your house. You know, that way you don't have to have bats in your house, but you can get the feeling of having bats in your house. You get that fun, you know. That's why you have the bat tea light. You get the fun of having the appearance of bats, you know, in your house without having them. Because bats are living creatures who may or may not be able to carry candles during flight. That's not a good thing always. So the bat tea light, you put that over there because, you know, that'll do. And that'll do. Sometimes you can say to a waitress, "That'll do." "Will that do?" "That'll do." You know. After you drink a Mountain Dew, you can say, "That'll do." "Don't ask me about my sponsors." That'll do. That'll do. That'll do. Sometimes when I get a present ready for someone for their birthday and I wrap it up, you know, even before I wrap it up, I look at it and I go, "Yeah, that'll do. That'll do." Sometimes after I wrap it up, I'm like, wow, I really did something there. That'll do. That will do. Sometimes it applies to presents. Sometimes it's at restaurants. That'll do. What will that do for you guys now? Yeah, that'll do. I'll have the entree, I'll have the appetizer, I'll have the dessert, and that'll do. That'll do. You're always going to want to prepare for things in life. That's the meaning here. Birthdays, social events, dinners. Prepare for it. What should I wear? You look good. That'll do. That'll do. Sometimes I like to go for the buzz haircut, you know? Why don't you just buzz me? That'll do. Why not? I don't feel like styling it anymore. Just buzz me. That'll do. That's a do. Sometimes people will try to give me a lot of work, and I'll say, oh, I think that's as much as I can handle. You know, that'll do. Then they give me a cow, and that'll moo. And they give me a dog. Then they give me a dog, and that'll poo. Sometimes when I'm picking out books I like to read, I grab a couple at a time, and I'm thinking about it, and I go, yeah, I'm going to read all this, maybe. But to think about reading it, then, yeah, that'll do. That'll do. Sometimes when you're picking out a TV, you don't always have to go for the biggest one, you know? You can get a small one. That'll do. Get a small one. That'll do. Which one do you want? The medium one? The middle one? Yeah, that'll do. 50-inch, okay? That'll do. Some people are watching me right now on their big screen. Hi out there. Is this good comedy? Yeah, that'll do. Sometimes when I'm writing... Oh, thanks. Sometimes when I'm writing the show, I look at it, what I've written, I go, is this great? Yeah, this is great. This'll do. Sometimes I'm in the mood for something else, though. Something like a little competition, you know. I'm in the mood for a little competition. Do you ever shorten competition? You know, it's fun. You up for a little competition? I like a little competition every now and then. Like cards, board games, Wordle. I like to cheat at Wordle. I just like the competition. I'm looking for a little competition. I like to watch sports. I used to play a lot of sports, not much anymore. I got kicked off all my teams, you know, because it's competitive. For a spot on a team, it's competitive. It's all a little competition. And now that I'm older, I'm not up for it so much. Like the comedy scene, that's competitive. Each comedian going against each other, that's a competition. You know, that's a little competition. It's a big competition. But for me, I have no competition. I have no ambition. No ammunition. Great comedy album title, by the way. Greg Simoneau. No ambition, no ammunition. And I would let someone on my show, if they ever wanted to come on, you know. I asked everyone. I know. They said they didn't want to come on. So I'm like, that's fine. I'll take on all the competition. They didn't want to come on. I find that it'd be a competition. But that'll do. I play tic-tac-toe. That's an easy game. That's a little competition. I go fishing with my peeps, my family. If someone catches something, that's good. If we don't, that's fine. It's all a little competition. Then we squeeze the fish's breasts, and that's a cup of fish. Sometimes my nephew says stuff like, I'm going to break the record for eating hot dogs, or I'm going to eat this or that. And I'm like, well, I'd like to see you do that, but that's good for you. That's a good little competition with a plop of relish. That's the competitiveness he has, you know? I go to card shows and everyone's clamoring for cards, you know. It could be a little competitive with the deals and the back and forth bartering, you know. It's a little competition. I'll give you a 30. I'll give you a 40. And I'm 40 into it, you know. Another guy over there said he'd give me 45 for it. Well, that's a little competition. And it's all that for a little cardboard featuring Catfish Hunter. Yeah, that's right. That's a little cat of fish. Sometimes you just... Sometimes you just gotta, you know, get the cheapest gas price you can out there. Yeah. You go to different gas stations. One's a little less, one's a little more. $2.87, $2.99, $3.09, $3.14, $3.19. Check them out. It's a little competition. People are fighting for your gas dollar. It's a little competition. It's big oil. And I find the whole thing a little fuelish. I was thinking about this the other day. You know, it's coming up on fall, and pumpkins will be out. But there's no logo for pumpkins, you know? And that's the name of this comedy album. There's no logo for pumpkins, you know? There's no sports team, the Pumpkins. You know, if I had to dream up a logo, I'm thinking a big P. Not penis, you know, a P, the letter. You know, I'm thinking, you know how those little jack-o'-lanterns have those little triangle eyes? That's weird, right? Why are their eyes triangle? I don't know. Is it just because that's the easiest knife cut you can make? I don't know. Nobody that I ever met has had triangle eyes. You know, it could be the new makeup style, maybe, you know? The jack-o'-lantern eye. You know, kind of like the cat eye. Like a cat eye so sharp it can kill a man. A jack-o'-lantern eye so sharp it can kill a tea light. But the logo for pumpkins, you could say, but Greg, come on, there's emojis, there's pumpkin emojis. Yeah, but that's not a logo. We need a pumpkin team, you know? We need the pumpkins. How'd the pumpkins do last night? Who are the pumpkins playing this week? Oh, those pumpkins. They're in for a little competition this week. Who are they playing? The Gourds? How are the Gourds doing? Oh, they just signed Gordie Howe. Wait, I thought they played baseball. I don't know. My favorite thing was going back to school, and the motif in some of the classrooms would be, you know, you had your glass pumpkins, your bat tea lights over there. And then there would just be regular pumpkins, you know, like cartoon pumpkins, drawings of pumpkins that they sell, commercial pictures, clip art that everyone uses from the 50s and 60s, those old pumpkins. Those are my favorite. But there's no logo for pumpkins. And I'll say it again. That's the name of this comedy album. Thanks for listening. No logo for pumpkins. That's what it's going to say. Greg Simoneau, no logo for pumpkins. It's provocative. Growing up, I was a big fan of pumpkins, carving a pumpkin, pumpkin spice. And people have kind of ruined it for me, saying that pumpkin has no taste. You know what I mean? But I specifically know what a pumpkin tastes like. But they say that's not the pumpkin. That's the spices that make that taste. But I'm like, okay, that's still good, right? Pumpkin smell. If you need a little aromatherapy, you can get a pumpkin candle. Put it next to your bat tea light. They make a great motif. And also, we can't forget about David S. Pumpkins, the Tom Hanks character on SNL. That's a good character. That's funny. We don't know what he's doing. He's got a jacket. He's wearing a sports coat with a bunch of pumpkins on it. What's he all about? I don't know. I'm going to find out. No logo for pumpkins, though. We got to come up with that one. We got to make a team first, right? Let's pool our money together. Let's get a Halloween team, you know? Who are we going to draft first? Frankenstein? Dracula? Elvira? I'd like to cop a fish, you know? But I'd be too scared to, I think, you know? Boop. Oh, candy came out. It just like reminds me of that song, Ludacris. Ludacris fills cups like double D's, you know? It's more like Luda fills cups with candies. And when he's broke and he's working at the drive-thru, Luda fills cups like he works at Wendy's. A little change to it. All right, back to the draft, you know. How about Wednesday Addams? You know, you got to go Wednesday Addams first round pick, you know. Halloween draft for the pumpkins, you know. This sounds like an extra credit worksheet for third graders, you know. Maybe that's something we can have them work on. Yeah. I heard people don't like when you say, thanks for watching my channel, you know. I don't say that. You know, I'm on the public channel. This isn't mine, you know. Well, it is on YouTube, so thanks for watching my channel. I can't claim this channel. That's been the downfall of a lot of community producers, claiming that the community channel is theirs. And I don't believe that. This channel is for everyone, and a little part of it is for me. But thanks for watching my channel. I can't watch it. I can't watch myself. I don't know what it is. Too critical, I guess. I love doing it, though. I love writing and performing it for the masses. I think one show had like 5 viewers. That's almost a car full. That would be a little competition for Shotgun. Yeah. Thanks for watching my channel. But this is a comedy album, though. This is a performance. This is going to come out as an album. So anyone listening to this on vinyl is not really watching my channel. This, in this state, is vintage me. This is vintage Greg Simoneau. We're living in it. This is my era. Remember when I left through a red Benny's door to the end of my last show? Yeah, that signified something. I walked into this new orange pumpkin era. This is the vintage Greg Simoneau era. Greg Simoneau, no logo for pumpkins. Make it a P, Make it a P with those 2 little triangles on it. Stick them in there, on top of the P? Inside the P? I don't know, somewhere. And of course, there has to be some sort of orange-brown combination. Very 70s, This team lets their hair down. Long, crazy mustaches, unshaven. A little dust flies off the uniform when the players walk in. They're all a little dusty, Catfish Hunter would play for this team, definitely. And the Pumpkins' closest team in comparison is probably the Padres, That's probably what we're going for. Anyways, so I was driving along the other day, and I saw a mix of kids and adults playing wiffle ball, and I was driving by, and I was like, just let them hit it, Let the kid hit it. And that's how I feel now, I've lost the urge to strike the little bastards out in wiffle ball. I lost that urge. I think everyone should be hitting off a tee now, Let everyone hit. I lost the urge to strike them out anymore. I want to see them do well. There's no crying in baseball. But there is crying in wiffle ball. In fact, it's all crying. And I saw the kid, and he was playing in a tennis court, and he hit it, a nice pop fly, right? And it took a bounce and went over the tennis net. Now, that's a big bounce, So they were probably using like a pickleball or something, And I was disappointed in the shape of a pickleball when I finally saw it. I don't know why. I thought it should be like a whoop. I don't know. Why isn't there a pumpkin ball, That should be a new sport. But that's the thing. When you play wiffle ball with a mixture of adults and kids, adults always want to strike the little bastards out. And I'm just, I'm over it. I lost that urge for me. It's not even a little competition anymore. Here, hit it. That'll do. There you go. Let's just everyone do well in wiffle ball and have fun. Can't take a walk in wiffle ball. You got to hit it. There's no pitching clock. Come on. The Pumpkins are on. Let's go. Let's get this over with. That'll do. Oh, so I got a haircut. Yeah. I cut it all off. Just buzzed, Now it's like pretty close to being bald. There's some hair up there. So I want this album to be the first album in the series, The Bald Monologues. I don't know. It's just given by a bald person. It's The Bald Monologues. It seems like something Sarah Jessica Parker would be into, I don't know. I don't really know her that well, but I think she'd be a nice producer on this. Is Sarah Jessica Parker bald? I don't know. The Bald Monologues. It's just bald men on public access talking about monologues. It's in a monosyllabic formula. That'll do. The Bald Monologues. It's kind of like the vagina monologues, but instead of the vagina, we're talking about the head. The man's bald head. Puts bald cap on. Is this redundant? The whole show is redundant. It could be a woman, maybe in the series. A bald woman. It's a series. It's starting with this one. No logo for pumpkins. Part of the Bald Monologues. And then we'll put it on the internet, and it'll be called the Bald Blogs. So when I started this show, I wanted to do comedy, maybe acting, be in a movie, Then I was in a couple of movies, and that was fun. And you'll think it'll be different when you have the dream as a kid, because you think to be in a movie like Star Wars, you'll be on a spaceship shooting laser guns, laser sorting people, and the aliens will be coming running after you. And not one thing of that explains Star Wars, but that's okay. And that'll be fun. But that's all green screen and done in post. And it's actually just you doing pantomiming, What am I doing? Are they over there? Look out! What's better, Now that they have Galaxy's Edge and Disney, those rides are better than being in the movie because you're on a ride. You're still waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning, wearing some winter coat in a desolate area, just hoping for breakfast. But, and you're still just standing around for hours on end, but at least the payoff will be good. Then they let you take pictures on a movie ride. They don't let you take pictures on a movie set, I'm not like, hey, Peter Berg, let me get a quick selfie, He'd be like, how did you get your phone? Because they lock them up before they let you in. And unless you're like Harrison Ford or somebody awesome like Mark Wahlberg or Ryan Reynolds, who we love, you're probably not going to get many lines, I was in Patriots Day and they gave all the lines to Mark Wahlberg. Oh, I was so close to saying, in here, I would have gotten my SAG card. Now the closest thing I get to SAG is delivering mail in Sagamore Beach. Yeah. And Mark Wahlberg and Ryan Reynolds weren't in Star Wars, just to clear that up. But you're going to be in this movie. Maybe it's not Star Wars. Maybe it's not. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's Little Women. There's a far less laser swords and laser guns going on there. Even though you're a cop in this one, you sometimes don't even really get a gun. You might get that little billy stick. Not even. And what's the time period of Little Women? Is it historically accurate that a patrolman doesn't have a gun? Hey, stop. Whistle. Maybe a pistol? I don't know. And maybe you won't even get any lines. Maybe you'll just be like, You just have to act like that. And it's not as fun as you think. At Galaxy's Edge, being on a ride, being in that movie, it's not as fun as being on a ride of that movie, is what I'm trying to say. Though, they don't even have a Little Women ride. Maybe they should. Maybe you enter a room with a bunch of people, watch a video narrated by Greta Gerwig. Oh, okay. And she talks about Little Women, the movie. Chris Cooper and Florence Pugh are in it, tell you how it was made. Then you go into some old-timey rooms, Maybe people are on their bed rest, or someone over here is throwing manuscripts into the fireplace. That would be a good ride. That would be better than being in the movie. Better than doing 30 takes of Saoirse Ronan running down the street in a cold drizzle. Just saying, from my personal experience. All right. Thanks for watching me. Thanks for watching my channel. Catch me in the upcoming film Pumpkins 2000, where Hot Pumpkin will be voiced by the talented Florence Pugh, and Rotten Pumpkin will be voiced by, you guessed it, Kingston's own Rotten Pumpkin, Chris Cooper. Thanks. Good night. Go Pumpkins.
We about to cause a scene. There's nothing like you've seen. Everything ain't